Well, good morning and welcome to the last choral insights of the 10 that I had promised you. And this last choral insights is going to deal with the one other aspect of text that we haven't. We talked first of all last week about vowels, and vowels we said created the beauty in the words that we sing. Consonants indeed give the words meaning, usually. We talked about our alphabet, and here it is. We already have dealt with A, E, I, O, U, vowels, and then W and Y that are consonants that are used like vowels. Today we're going to deal with the rest of the consonants, and you may have thought they were very, very simple. And when I'm speaking of consonants, I'm talking about consonants in the English language. I need to make that very, very clear, because consonants in other languages can be used differently or can be quite different. Think of Russian for one thing if you'd like. I'd like to talk about the different kinds of consonants we've got and deal with every one of them. First of all, we have double consonants. Those are consonants that are used two ways, like a C. A C can be a K sound or a S sound. C-A-N is can, C-E-N-T is cent. Usually C-E, actually always in English as far as I know, C-E has the S sound, centennial, cent, century, that sort of thing. The exception you might think of is words like the word cello, but I would maintain with you that cello is not an English word, it's an Italian word. So in English, C-E has an S sound, the C has an S sound. The other double vowel we have is Q, and that's really a misnomer, because Q, with the exception perhaps of the word Q-tips, which is a product, Q otherwise is always followed by a U. And the Q has only one sound. K. The U has the oo, qu, like quiet, question, quandary, k, k, oo. So it is a double sound vowel, and it's interesting because it is never used alone in a word in English except QU, especially at the beginning of a word. Sustained vowels. Well, sustained vowels are vowels that you could sing for a long period of time. Oh, And if you look over here, you'll notice that they all happen together, L, M, and N. And we've already used Q, and we've already used C, so we're down quite a few already. Now let's talk about vowels, or rather consonants, that have two sounds. An X, 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 has a K and an S sound together. You have to make both sounds for an X to happen. X. An X usually is preceded by an E, but not always. Usually preceded by an E. X. And then Q, we've already covered with the two sounds there. I'm sorry, I forgot to talk about hair. H. H is one of those double sounds because it can either have the breath, or it can be silent, like the word H-E-I-R, air, or heirloom. No sound, or honest. So it can either have breath or it can be silent. Now we've dealt with doubles and two sounds and sustained or sung sounds. I think one of the hardest vowels to sing well is an R, and let me explain to you why. R's, when we sing them in English, usually are it's a very glottal sound. It's difficult to sing well. It very often creates tension in the voice. Well, what do we do about that? Well, we can flip it. How do you flip an R, you ask? Well, let's take the word dust. Dust. Let's put a little sound in front of it. Rust, rust, rust. All of a sudden you have a flipped R, and you have the word with a flipped R, rust. We all probably know the chorus, "Oh, rest in the Lord." Well, you can use a D instead. Oh, rest in the Lord. And the audience will probably think they heard an R. Why do we use the flipped R? Because can last for a long time. A flipped R happens that quickly, and that way an entire group singing together, a choir if you will, can say the R exactly together. We will have no duplication at different times. Finally, we have the rolled R, which many singers like to overdo. It can be used a little bit, usually at the beginning of words by a soloist, in order to really be heard over an orchestra. But there you are. You have the glottal, the flipped ra, ra, with a little bit of vowel in front of a D. And you have the rolled. Well, now we've gotten rid of the R. We've gotten rid of the X. What we have left are the most interesting consonants of all, because each consonant has a buddy. They are called plosives. They explode. Do they explode with air, or do they explode with sound? Well, if they explode with air, they're called breath plosives. If they explode with sound, they're called voice plosives. You may not realize it, but when you say p, p, a P, p, all you have to do is add a little bit of sound to it, p, 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 and you've got a B. You pronounce them the same way. One is pronounced with air, one is pronounced with sound. Same thing with a T. T, 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 t. T, when you add voicing, it becomes a D. One of my favorites is an F. When you add sound, it becomes a V. K, add sound, becomes a G. Same sound, one uses air, one uses some pitch. Now, I'm going to go all the way to the voice right away, the J, 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 J. Because when you take away the sound, J, 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 you end up with a CH sound, which isn't a consonant, but it's a sound that we use quite a bit. So, CH, J. Finally, we have S, which is air, which is breath. Add some vowel, Z, 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 and you have a Z. Now, why is this important? Well, because when you're singing, if you're singing a word and you have a voice plosive, say the word voice, voice, and you have a full orchestra playing, and you have one singer in front, a soloist, they may not be able to hear that V over the orchestra. But if they sing instead of voice, they sing voice, voice, the audience will hear the word voice just because you've leaned toward the breath version. So consonants, very important in music. Some of them are actually vowels. Some of them are used with other syllables, other sounds. Some of them stand alone and can be sung. Some of them can be done several different ways, and some of them can be moved from voice to breath back and forth. Why is that important? Because we're getting ready to do a work called the Vivaldi Gloria. Now, before I say anything more, I want to make one final comment, and it's over here. And that is, interestingly enough, Latin has no W. There's no W in Latin. Think about the actual word W, double U, and doesn't it look like, if we write it a little bit differently, doesn't a W look like a double U? And what is the sound of a W? Oo. They found in Latin it was not needed, they did not use it. I would invite all of you, before I finish today, that would like to join us starting next week. Our choral insights are going to be dealing with one work, and that is the Vivaldi Gloria. I will be working with a quintet, and we will be working on the 9 movements of the Vivaldi Gloria that are sung by a choir. Now that may sound a bit daunting to you, but the entire work takes only 30 minutes. 2 of the movements are solo and 1 is a duet. One of the movements is only 6 measures long. It takes about 40 seconds. So now you've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 movements out of the way, and you've done almost nothing. Only 8 movements left. One of the 8 movements left is a duet between the soloist and the choir, so it's really 7.5. And I'm going to teach it for 12 sessions. We're going to have a quintet in here. I'm going to teach it, and I'm going to give you another option to use online where you can practice, and it's free. So I invite any of you to join us for the Vivaldi Gloria. If you do not have a copy, after you see the prayer, you will see my email address. Please email me, and I will see to it that you get a copy. If you already own a copy, that's great if you happen to have one of the other editions. We're using Roger Dean, but there are many other editions. It doesn't really make any difference to me, because when I give directions to you, I'm going to give it according to the name and the number of the movement and the measure number. I'm not going to give a page number because they would be different in the different editions. So anyone can join in any edition. And if you need a copy, simply email me and we'll make arrangements. Those of you that are in my choir know when I'm going to be available for them to be picked up, and some of you have already gotten them. Well, I enjoy being with you these 10 sessions, and I invite you once again to pray the prayer that you see, and then if you need a copy, email me and we'll arrange for you to get a copy of the Vivaldi. The performance will be in December. At the moment, it will be about mid-December. The only rehearsals I anticipate that we'll have to have with everyone is 1 regular rehearsal, 1 dress rehearsal, and then the performance itself. All of that information will be given in our next session. So again, I invite you to join us, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Please pray the prayer that you now see. Thank you.